recording. Here we go. Awesome for everybody who's here. The room keeps filling up, so that's great to see. Everybody who's here, first off, thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your day to join me and my friend Robyn Crane. Robyn and I've known each other a handful of months at this point. We've worked on a couple of projects together where we're taking care of LinkedIn side and Robyn takes care of a lot of the coaching side. And listen, she's kind of revolutionary, right? Robyn's got some strategies that I know a lot of coaches, Robyn. You've got some strategies that are different from others. And so it's exciting to be able to showcase something new and different to an audience that we talk to a lot. So for those of you who've taken some time to find out what's going on in Robyn's world, thanks for being here. And for a little bit of housekeeping, we've got chat and Q&A open. Robyn's got a presentation for you today. Oftentimes, Robyn, we do like a Q&A type thing. So this format with the presentation is a little bit different than what our webinars often are. But I think that's great, right? So you can lay out your processes. If you got questions, chat, Q&A, I'll be monitoring that. I'm sure Robyn will have plenty of questions for you on my own. And with that, thanks for being here, Robyn. I appreciate you being my guest. And the floor is yours.
Awesome. Awesome. My pleasure. Yeah, super fun. So, and I have a lot of slides, but I'm happy to, if you guys have questions, like you're welcome to interrupt me. I just want to make sure you get value from your time. I know how busy you are as financial advisors. I was actually a financial advisor for about a decade and I'm still a CFP, you know, to become a CFP, you hold on to that because it's a lot of work and you do it kind of so that you stand out. But what I realized, one of the things with even getting my CFP, that just having the CFP wasn't necessarily the thing that got me to stand out. You know, what got me to stand out are the strategies that I'm going to share with you and these ideas of cloning your ideal client so that you can, whether you have your CFP or whether you don't, whether you've been in the industry 30 years, whether you've been in the industry 10 or 1, that you can still attract ideal clients and clone them like magic. And so I definitely want to share these strategies with you. And also I'm having an event coming up December 4th through the 6th. That's an exclusive event. I've run this event for a while, but typically I'll have, 300 people, maybe 100 people. And this one's going to be very exclusive. That includes coaching and stuff. And so if you like these strategies, I'll definitely give you a chance to join me. It's going to be a small handful of, or a small group, a handful of people. So I'll tell you about that if you want to learn more, but I'll dive into a lot of stuff here so that no matter what, if I never see you again, you'll be able to apply these things and put into action in your business. So yeah, so let me share my screen here. And so you can see some slides. Yeah, this is where I want to be. Okay, so this is something I talk a lot about. Let me just, I got to move your guys's chat out of the way. So you have to interrupt me on the chat because otherwise I won't see it. So as you can see, I have this thing called cloning. Okay, it's very different, like Charlie said, that what most people teach. And so this is really about how to attract ideal clients and clone them like magic. And so we'll get into what that really means and how you can do that. So I can help you move forward. And what really drives me, if you can see that poster in the background, that's the name of my last book. What drives me is to help you make more money so you can help more people. Some people feel bad about making money. Some people feel awesome about making money. And you being in the financial industry, you would think you'd feel awesome about it. But I come across a lot of advisors who are so driven to serve and they really want to make a big impact, which is who I typically attract. And so I want you to know, no matter how you feel about making money, is that the whole concept behind it for me is that the real reason we're making more money is so we can make a bigger impact and really help more people. And so I want to show you how to do that so we can really change the world, especially when it comes to the financial industry. I really do feel like my mission here is to help the industry shift to a more abundant mentality versus really being in scarcity. I really feel like, being in the industry myself, that so much of the focus is like how to make sure people don't run out of money and making sure they can last retirement. And you don't want to outlive your spending or your assets, or all that focus is on survival. And I want to shift the conversation to be about creation and abundance. So you'll see I have some weird things about like some spiritual stuff and manifesting. I might chime in there, but really, really also very, very concrete concepts on how to actually get the attention of those ideal clients so that you can make more money and help more people. As I said, that's my latest book. I'm a 4-time #1 best-selling author, CFP. And really what I've found being in this industry, and I'll just pause the screen share so I can talk to you for a second, is that no matter where you are, whether you're just starting, whether you've been in the industry, or as an advisor for a decade or 3 decades, if you're not good at standing out and attracting the right people, you're not growing. And as Tony Robbins says, if you're not growing, you're dying. Maybe you've heard that before. And I'm not just a believer in business growth. I'm a believer in personal growth and development. And as you can see, that going back to that impact. And so I was in the industry, and I find, like, after struggling for years and going into debt, I finally got to a point where I was making six figures. And, you know, if you've been in the industry for a while, you know that that's like your first milestone, right? I started in the industry at 29 years old. It was about 2007, if you want to do the math. I'm 47 years old, just so you don't have to get distracted. People always do that, right? You're like, how old is she, right? The filters help. They do, the Zoom filters help. But I got in the industry, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was actually a singer-songwriter before I started. So I didn't have this warm market that was just going to be, you know, bubbling with millions of dollars to make it easy for me to just step up and just cash in. And so I had to learn the strategies. I had to learn a different way. And I really went outside of the industry, which is why I'm really good at the online marketing strategies, just like Charlie, doing things like digital marketing, really getting clear on the ideal client stuff, is because I had to, because I couldn't survive at 29 years old with my warm market and, you know, COIs that didn't care to refer to me. But finally I got to that $100,000 mark, and I kind of thought I arrived, you know, being in my early 30s, I was like, oh, yay, I made it. And then I did what most advisors do after a while. When you get recurring revenue, I got comfortable, and I stopped doing the things that actually got me there. And I definitely wasn't doing the things that would get me to the next place where I wanted to be. And so I found, it's like I woke up one day and I found myself like barely make enough money. I wasn't, you know, I was actually going further into debt after I finally like thought I got ahead. And I was, you know, my debt was going up, my income was going down, and I had some recurring revenue, but not enough to cover the bills. And I find that some people go through this after they've gotten to the six-figure mark, or maybe even beyond. Then like life hands you something that's like, like now what? And I was in that place. And to make matters worse, my husband and I, we were trying to have a baby, and we couldn't get pregnant. It was like going on 4 years of this journey. And so I remember this day vividly. And I was going back from a friend's house, and my husband was driving, and he stopped and turned into a parking lot and just kind of stopped. And, you know, you get that feeling where like something's coming. You don't know that you're going to want to talk about it, but it's like, it's in the air. Well, that's how I felt. My husband turned to me and he said, I think it's time we do IVF, you know, in vitro, to make a baby. Right. And I like had this like such stress and pressure. And my first reaction was anger, and I was like attacking. I'm like, how could you say that? Like I've been going further and further in debt. Like the business is going the wrong direction. Like I can't have this pressure of also having to have a baby. You know, it's like, I want a baby, but I don't I'm not in a place where that's possible right now. And I was just getting like really stressed out about the conversation. And even though I wanted that so badly, and my husband turned to me and he said, I will never let money get in the way of us having what we want. And it really hit me. And it was like, what is most important? And for you, it might be something other than a baby. It might be traveling. It might be, you know, doing something and maybe philanthropic and changing the world. But for me at that time in my life, it was really important. And I was putting it on hold because I didn't know the strategies to grow the business. I didn't know how to predictably and reliably get clients, especially the ones I wanted. And I got in a place where after years of being a financial advisor, I was in servicing mode, not marketing mode. And so from that conversation, I really decided to change. And I focused on three main things. One was mindset, because I was just like constantly in this downward spiral of like, this isn't working. The second thing was being selective about clients, because I was just taking anyone on. And I didn't have that great of a, you know, pool to pull from. And so I would just take anyone. And then I felt like I was barely making money from each client. And I was just like chasing my tail I had my tail between my legs. So I had to be more selective. And then the third thing was that I had to focus on money-making activities. And I realized there was a difference between marketing, definitely a difference between prospecting. I always think prospecting is so crazy, like this idea of prospecting, because it's like prospecting for gold. Like these people gave up their lives. They sacrificed everything to go prospect. And most people are like, you know, sifting through gold and did not find gold, right? They did not strike gold. And so the industry keeps telling you to prospect. And most people, if you're in a position where you're comfortable enough that you make a decent amount of money, prospecting is at least like, this is the furthest thing from your mind. If you got to a place where you're comfortable. And if you've been in a place where you're running and running and running and running, you're just pissed because you're just prospecting and then there's very little payoff. Does it work? Sure. You do anything, any marketing will work if you do it enough. Put enough money, put enough time, resources, anything will work. But when I say work, I want it to work effectively for you to get ideal clients. So for all of it, I usually have a little rubber band here. All of that I really had to do was to stretch. And this is what I use as my little example here, is that I think of this rubber band as symbolizing your comfort zone. And I think about how, well, everything you want lies outside your comfort zone. Otherwise, you'd already have it. Okay. So whatever that is, like, let's say you want to make $100,000 a month, maybe $100,000 a year, maybe $100,000 a day, whatever that is, you got to stretch to get there. And that's where, like, I like to bring in the mindset component that everybody knows. Like, you talk to the most successful people on the planet. I'm in a mastermind with Damon John from Shark Tank. Like, he talks about mindset all the time, right? With the most successful people on the planet, they are well aware that everything is mindset. And of course, then you need the strategies. Okay. So I want to give you that frame before jumping into like content. So you understand, one, I've been where you are in some realm, shape, or form, was able to then get to $1 million business and beyond. So I've been there, been in debt, all the things, right? And so now on the other side, like, I really want to show you how you can do it in a more efficient and effective way. So let me go back to my screen here. Okay. Cool. So what I did and how I did that is exactly what I'm going to show you. Is I started cloning my clients. Okay. And it first was women. If you go you start searching me all over the internet, you'll see, like, it's hard to collect everything. Like, it still says I work with women sometimes. I now work with men and women, but this was the first year I made $1 million a year. And you can see how old my little guy was, my first little baby. And so I was able to do that because I cloned my clients, and I cloned them again and again. Even made them wear the same t-shirt. So everybody thinks they're cloned, right? But that's how it happened. And I got really clear on who that person was. And then as that happened, it started to expand, and that happens as well, right? And it's not niching, it's cloning. Okay. So it's very different. And I had my next baby, who's now 4 years old. So that was 2020. And was able to get to even beyond that mark. Okay. And this is a little old, but this is a fun picture of my family. We like to dress up, and in the spirit of Halloween this week, I really believe, just like our family here, that we're superheroes. Like, we're here to help people make a difference in their lives. And you guys are helping people financially, which makes all the difference. And there are some people out there that are like, going like, hey, save me, save me. And there's some people out there that, like, they need to be saved, but they're not screaming from the rooftops to be saved. So you'd have to have a message. You have to market your message and show yourself to be found in a way that they can find you, even if they're not thinking they need to be saved. Although most people really, really do need to be rescued, even if they think they're all set. Okay. So I want you to think of that capacity. We're not going to go pounce on people and start marketing to them. We're going to give people an opportunity to get the transformation to change their life, like a superhero. Okay. So I like to think of this as using the ideal client cloning machine. We'll talk about that in a second. But the idea is that we get clear on who is that one person that we could clone, and then keep cloning them again and again, so that you have more time, more impact, and more income. So what you're going to learn today, I'll try to fit it all in as best as I can, the shortcut to success, how to pick your clone. And then I'm going to briefly go over the Revenue Accelerator System. But if you choose to join me at this 3-day event, we're taking 3 full days to go into the whole entire 5-step system. So I'll give you a taste of it. And then those of you who want to really dive in more, then I would highly recommend you come to this event. And it is an exclusive event, so it's going to be nice and small. Ultimately, this is going to help you keep cloning and cloning and cloning when you have this idea of who that person is, and you have the strategies and money-making activities behind it. Okay. So I'm going to jump into the shortcut to success. Now, this is what happens with us, right? I'm guilty of this. It's like, we're just moving. We just go. And especially, like, being in the financial industry, they teach you these strategies that aren't that effective. So you think you need to keep working hard. And then someone comes along and they're like, want some help? Like, this is going to make it more efficient. And because we're so inundated with people marketing to us all the time, LinkedIn, Charlie and I are very, very big on LinkedIn. We're doing LinkedIn every day, all the time. But still, people are like, they used to do this. Now the kids do this. But it's like, no, I'm too busy. No time. I can't slow down. How many of you feel like that sometimes, right? And then right in front of you, there's a solution that can make it go faster. So I would invite you to open your minds to make this go faster by seeing, how can you slow down a sec so that you can speed up? And that's kind of been a theme for me and kind of my spiritual journey of, like, because I've been running for so many years of, like, no, I actually just need better tools, better team, better marketing strategies like Charlie has, so that I can create bigger results and make a bigger impact. So I don't know how many of you know this guy. This is Tony Robbins. So back in the day, I went to his event and I walked in, and usually I'm standing for this with all this, and everybody's like jumping up and down and screaming. It's all this crazy energy. And I felt like I got duped, because this guy came to our office and sold me a ticket, which at the time I didn't have the money for. I just put on a credit card. And I was thinking I'm going for business skills and tools. And I'm like, what is this? And I was like very skeptical. So I'm like, okay, this is crazy. I came here for business. But after a while, I started to open up and then realize that like, okay, there's actually a lot to be said here, that if I change my mindset, I can change my business and change my life. But here's what happened. We got to this point when I finally was pretty open to it at the end of the seminar. I don't know who's been, if anyone's been, put your hand up. It'd be interesting to see. But at the end of this event, near the end, he says, I want you to think of a limiting belief. And think of that limiting belief, because if we can annihilate that limiting belief, you'll have a totally different life. And so I'm there like trying to figure out like, what is this limiting belief? What is this limiting belief? And all of a sudden it hits me. And I have this flashback to when I'm like 10 years old. Okay, I'm not like a baby here. And I really wanted to be in the gifted program, but I was not invited to be in the gifted program. And so there was a way to like do an oral exam to try to get in. So I went into this oral exam because my mom wanted me to be smart. I wanted to be smart, all the things. And they asked me these questions. And at the time, I knew I should have known what it was. And the one main question that they asked was, let's just say really embarrassing. Okay. I came home to my mom and she's like, how was it? How'd it go? And I'm like, I don't think I got into the gifted program. And she's like, why not? And I said, well, they asked me a question. I said, what's a tripod? And I didn't know. And my mom looked at me and she goes, you don't know what a tripod is? Come on, Robyn, tripod 3. And I was like, I feel so stupid. So there I was, 10 years old, and this belief is born, I'm stupid. And that was carried with me my entire life. I got straight A's because I wanted people to think that I was smart. I worked really hard, and I was an achiever because I got attention. I got love when I achieved. Anyone sound familiar? Maybe you don't think you're stupid, but you might have gotten some love from being an achiever. So I was at this event and I'm like, that's it. That's the thing. I'm like, that's my limiting belief. And so I was super excited. And so Tony Robbins says, okay, what you're going to do, you're going to take your finger, and on the count of 3, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and you're going to stick it up your nose. Yeah, I did it. I know. And you're going to go around in a circle, Mickey Mouse voice, and you're going to say that limiting belief. And I'm like, I'm so stupid. Like going around like this. And then he's like, that's BS, that's bullshit. The truth is, and then you say all these things, like rattle it off, like how you're smart. And so I got into it. I'll stop sharing my screen for a sec. I got into it and I was like super excited. And I was like, oh my God, everything's changed. And like, I changed my beliefs. I can change my life. He had this thing like, make your move. And I'm like, woo, make your move, woo. So I get to the office the next day and I'm like on Tony Robbins, Kool-Aid. I'm like super excited. I go in there. There's all these people like, we have this little bullpen. They're supposed to call their list of 100 and do all this stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to own this, and I get to my desk and I'm like, make my move, woo, make my move, woo. And then I look at like my list of 100, like this list of in my binder, who I'm supposed to call. And I look at my computer screen of like, what am I supposed to say? And I'm like, I look at that phone that's like 100 pounds and I'm like, oh God, I don't want to do this. This doesn't feel good. Like, I don't want to do this. And before you know it, comes up, I'm so stupid. And there it was, like 8 hours later, this limiting belief that I supposedly annihilated was gone. So as much as I love Tony Robbins, I realized that I needed something more than that to get me the result, because just the raw stuff wasn't enough for me. And you can tell by the energy, I like raw stuff, but I needed some strategy there beyond just like changing my mindset that apparently didn't last. So I have this system called the belief loan phenomenon. And it takes similar idea that like understanding what Tony said, with your beliefs influence your behaviors, and then your behaviors influence your results, your success. And then it's like, it happens to like perpetuate itself, because then basically it goes back to your beliefs and then you can adopt new beliefs. Now the difference between what Tony Robbins teaches and what I teach is that the idea is that you have these limiting beliefs, like I'm so stupid. Okay. And what happened is if you believe you're stupid, you take certain behaviors, like I wouldn't pick up the phone, I wouldn't say those things on my script that I didn't feel aligned with, and it affects you. And so I had a coach, and I remember I came to him and I was like, I'm stuck. And he's like, Robyn, be stuck, but take action anyway. So that was another belief, I'm stuck. And so what I did was I borrowed his belief. I didn't know it at the time, but later I figured out this process. I was like, okay, what if I borrow his belief, then I can take the action, I can do the behavior. And that was a system. And once I did the behavior, whatever the system is that you taught, the systems I'm going to give you today, I borrowed the belief, I took the action, and then I got new results. And when that happened, I started to adopt new beliefs. And ultimately, it just started impacting me in a positive way. Instead of having the downward spiral, I'm so stupid, I'm stuck, I can't do this, and like not doing the actions, the pause, like borrowing the belief, got me to do the results, okay, and got me the actions. So to give you an example from a real live human being, other than myself, here's an example of Jamie, who's a CFP and independent advisor. And she had, let's call it like several, but let's use one limiting belief that she needed more clients, but she felt like she didn't have the time. Okay. And the behavior before we started working together, she's just waiting for referrals. How many can relate? She's paying for seminars. Anyone? And she had relationships with COIs. So she's, again, waiting for referrals, hoping to get referrals from these COIs. So those were the typical behaviors, typical things that are taught in the financial industry. Okay. The result, actually, she was growing her business, but it was slow. It was unpredictable. It wasn't reliable. It wasn't something she can say, I'm going to grow it, 30% this year. And if the market was going down, she could actually go down in her revenue. If the market was going up, she can look like a rock star. Anyone relate to that? The market's been pretty awesome lately. Okay, so the limitless belief would be to borrow the belief, instead of I need more clients, I just need more ideal clients. And that's what I want to give you about being selective, right? The behavior, she followed the system I'm going to show you today that we're also going over at the event, the Revenue Accelerator System. And the result was she had huge revenue accelerations even in a down market. We started back in 2021. You can see her revenue went up 25% there after hardly working. And the reason that she was hardly working those last 2 months was she actually, and she was working less, was because she got in a car accident. And this was just so devastating. She had some brain injuries, which made it impossible for her to work more than 20 to 30 hours a week. Sometimes it was only 3 hours a day. And I still just talked to her. This is 2 years ago. I still just talked to her the other day, and she's still challenging, having challenges with that. But the great thing was, you can see that because she learned these strategies beyond, you'll see lots of pictures of women because I used to work with just women. But because she did these strategies well in advance, she had the systems in place, and she actually beat her numbers. Like she kept growing, even though she was working less and less and still maybe working part-time. Okay. So I know these numbers are a little outdated, but that's where we were last time we chatted about the numbers. Okay. And then this was just fun because she still had time with her family to do the fun stuff. It's very short. Okay. So that's how you borrow the belief. Now I want to jump into how to pick your clone. Okay. So let me explain this concept first so you understand it. Now, I don't know about you, but one of the things that just drives me nuts is just wasting time. And it's just, I had this picture of my kids. I told them to pretend they were angry. They still get angry, but that one was just fun. But I get angry when I waste time. And I think as financial advisors, financial professionals, it's hard to have enough time because you have recurring revenue usually, which is great, but you also have recurring demands from your clients, right? And so what I want to give to you is something that can take less time because the amount of time that you have is so small, but we can take that time and actually any time that you're maybe wasting on other things and use it instead to direct towards attracting just a few clients that'll make you way more in less time. Okay. So this is the idea of cloning. And I just want to put out here, if you guys want to put in the chat, maybe Charlie can come back to me what people say. But what kind of fears do you have related to picking a niche? Because I want to show you the distinction and make sure you understand of how this cloning idea is different than picking a niche. Anyone coming up with fast fingers?
They're slow so far, Robyn.
Okay. I'll help you out, because I've done this multiple times. One of the biggest things that I hear, there we go. We got something in the chat. What does that say?
Q&A. I got it for you here.
Okay.
Missing out, Mike says.
Yeah. Cool. So missing out, right? So if I plant my flag and I say, I'm only going to work with, let's just say executives, like that's my niche. I'm the executive queen. I work with executives or king. And now you're going to miss out because there's someone who's going to be a VP and they don't think of themselves as an executive, or maybe someone who's a manager, or maybe someone who's a business owner, and they don't come to you because you are niched working with executives, right? So you don't want to miss out. Anything else come up?
I can share one that I know.
Yeah, please. That'd be great.
If I have a specific niche, what will my clients think that don't fit in that niche?
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So maybe some of your clients might feel like, oh, maybe I don't want to work with him anymore because now he's working with somebody better. And maybe they feel less than, maybe they feel like they're not maybe the right client for you anymore. So start questioning that. Okay. That's great. So I would say the number one thing is people don't want to pigeonhole themselves because they're afraid they're going to miss out. I think that's common too for like, okay, I don't want my clients to be mad at me or think less of me or think that I don't work with them, anything like that. I also think it's like, what if I change my niche, right? What if I change my niche and then people are like, oh, I thought you worked with these people, right? So I understand all that. And there are probably a lot others. You can chime in if you got more, but regardless of what it is, I want to tell you that this is why we clone, because I think that's real. Like if you were to redo everything, it's also a lot of work, right? You redo your whole website, all your branding, you put all this money towards like website and branding, and then like you've never even tested it and it doesn't necessarily work. Okay. So the concept of cloning is actually different. I know it's a funny word, but it works. Okay. So here's the idea. I call this the rule of 10. Let's say you pick this ideal client. Let's just for kicks call her a female executive. Okay. And now I want you to be on this path, this quest to find more ideal clients like this executive. Okay. So let's say you get really clear on who this executive is and you start cloning her. And hey, when you get clear on that, the way you talk about your client changes, the way you stand out. And I'll show you how to do this in a way that's not going to pigeonhole you. But what happens is you start talking about how you typically work with this type of person. You understand their problems and results, and you communicate this in a different way. It doesn't mean you only work with this person. You could just say, I'm going to start saying typically. Okay. If you say typically, it positions you as the expert. You might get more and more clients like this person. And then what happens is this little old lady comes along. Okay. And she hears from her daughter or from someone at work that you're amazing. You work with these executives. And she's like, oh, but I'm a little old lady, right? Like I'm different, right? But she comes to you anyway. Why? Because when you start to position yourself in a way to focus on the person you attract with messaging that's actually compelling to talk about problems and results, even if that person is not exactly like the other person, they see you as credible. So the path of cloning actually it elevates your positioning, positions you as an expert. I like to say positions you for profit because it gets you to where you attract people outside of that. It's not a niche, so it's outside of that target market or the clone, and it starts attracting other people to you because of how you're positioned. Okay, and you keep going, but you're not like I only work with this person. You just have messaging that typically you're thinking talks to that person. This is exactly what happened to me, right? I was working with women in the financial services industry because I was a woman. I thought it would be easier. I was being very, very specific about who I worked with. And this guy, guy comes along and, I was able to help him. And this guy was actually, he was the number one financial professional in the US for his company at the time. He was doing very, very well. And he's like, everyone tells me I'm the king of the nerds. Okay. And he comes to me for help because he didn't know how to do it online. He didn't know how to position himself to get not just for himself because he was doing well, but he wanted his advisors to do better. And so I helped him. And I'm like, oh, that was one of the first guys I worked with. And I was able to help him, even though he wasn't a woman. But I attracted him through my marketing, even though I was saying I was working with women. And I was even more like very niched, if you would. Okay. But it still positioned me very highly because I had something to say. And I'd get more women like this. And then it came to like, I was starting to attract guys that weren't, more guys that became clients and then women. And then before you know, it's just women who drank. No, I'm totally kidding. That's not true. Okay. But I started just, hey, financial advisors is typically who I work with, but then I get people who are insurance professionals, and I just got someone who's a fractional CFO, right? So it doesn't have to be like niched. It's just that I position myself to attract those people. It elevates my status, it elevates my credibility, and it attracts people outside. And if you don't want to take that little old lady, you don't have to, but you get to be selective. And if she's got an annuity, you feel like you can help her, and even though she's not typical of who you work with, help her. Okay. What we're looking for is the positioning, and we're looking for the energy, effort, resources, and focus towards who you want to attract. And Charlie does this really, really well on LinkedIn and email marketing, because it's like you can't talk to everybody. You're talking to no one. Okay. And so, especially when you start putting money behind this and volume behind this, you have to be clear about who that person is. Okay. So you don't have to just do all the things that people tell you, like in the industry, this is what they usually say: more cold calls, more follow-up, more networking, more seminars. They're just telling you to do more. And you guys are like, I don't got no time, yo. You probably don't say it like that, but you're like, I don't have time to do all this stuff when I'm still servicing my clients. Okay. And so the great thing is you don't have to. So keep it simple. And this is what happened when I was doing a media tours back, I don't know, a few years back. They would always ask me this question because my first claim to fame was that I made $500 in new business in 1 year. And 2 years later, I did 500,000. They're like, Robyn, how did you do that? And I would always say, well, I got really clear on like, who is the best person I help. And I focused my attention, energy, effort, and money, like my resources towards that. And that's how I was able to expand my business so fast. And then we got to 1 million and beyond. Okay. So this is how we do it. And you can take a screenshot of this, but you want to start with the money math and work backwards. I call this cloning magic. This is something we'll do a deep dive into at the Position Yourself for Profits exclusive event. So if you want to do this with me, we'll do it together. But you can get an idea at least of how it works. So you say, how much additional revenue do you want to make? Let's just say it's additional. So you have recurring revenue, let's assume, and then you want 20,000 more per month. It could be less, it could be more. I'm just making it up. Okay. And then we just do the math. Well, ideally, how many clients would you like per month? Not like if you said 5, I would say, well, ideally, you'd rather have 5 clients than 2 per month. Like you guys are busy. You want to take on 5 clients? Like, no, usually 2 might be better. Maybe some of you might say 1. Okay. Some of you might say 4 because it's like too much of a stretch to go to 2, right? But we do the math. We divide it, that's 10,000. And now we choose, well, then who could that client be? Who could that person that we clone be? And again, it's 1 person 10 times. The rule of 10 is the idea is that you clone 1 person. Let's say it's that executive. And if you could clone that person 10 times, you'd be able to meet or exceed your revenue goal. So if we start with the rule of 10, it might be 20 the first year, but if you start with the rule of 10, you don't need a lot of clients to get to that goal, especially in your industry. Okay. So how this works is that you can, 1, clone someone in your book of business. So this is an example of Pam, who she was working with basically anyone. She'd have someone 200,000. Sometimes they'd have 2 million. She was afraid of saying no. Her book was, this is older, but it's 35 million at the time in AUM. And then she cloned Barbara, who was divorced. We figured out what are the clonable characteristics that we want to clone, at least who have, at least $1 million or more. And in just over 2 years, her book grew to 110 million. And when I like showcase her like on an event, at an event or something, she's like, well, the market went up. I'm like, not that much. Like, from 2019 to 21, it's got even more since, but I don't know what her number is now. Now she's like giving away clients because she's like, these clients only have 5 million, So it's crazy how much that can expand and how your criteria changes when you have the system behind it. Okay. Level 2, if you're saying, I don't have someone in my book of business, level 2 is someone Okay. So this is my example. Actually, I knew Amy from when I was, 29 years old and I started my business. I actually didn't mean to clone her, but I knew her from this family camp that I was going to, and she had these 2 kids and husband. They lived in San Francisco. I used to be in the Bay Area, and she was a psychotherapist and she had, kids. I thought that would be a better client than my buddies who, are 29 years old or younger. And I ended up speaking at her daughter's preschool, and I ended up cloning her, and she never became my client. And it was kind of by accident at the time, but I wanted someone like her, and I felt weird trying to like pounce on her, like get her as a client. So it was like her friends and their friends and their friends. And I grew my business to my first $100,000 by doing that. Okay. So that is a possibility that you're saying, well, hey, I know someone in my community. I don't want to be weird and try to get them as a client, but what if I go through them to get clients in a way that's not weird or obnoxious or pouncy, but in a way that really makes sense? Okay. So that's one way you can clone level 2. And then level 3 is just cloning someone you don't know. And this is literally like picking out of the World Wide Web. But this was Tracy, who after 2020, she couldn't really do the seminars anymore. And it was just costing a lot of money. And she wasn't getting ideal clients. And so here it is. Whoops, there. And so she just decided to clone female attorneys. And at the time, these were her results, right? She had a lot of new prospects. She was doing much better, 52,000 in new business, filled pipeline with female attorneys. Okay. So it's an intentional thing, and you just got to pick. Okay. So you just got to say, well, who am I going to clone? Someone in your book of business, someone you know, or someone you don't know. And that's how we start, like in some of my systems of like, well, let's just pick. When we talk about it at the event, we'll work on this with you, and we'll help you get clear on who that person is, and even includes coaching sessions at this event, this exclusive event. So you'll get help doing this with me if you want help. Okay, last thing, and so I can hopefully get to the questions, is the system. So how does this all fit into the Revenue Accelerator System? So that you can take this further, this information, and really turn it into lasting transformation. Okay, so I want to just give you this because, again, then you'll at least know this exists and where you can focus. I can give you a screenshot of this, or you can take one when we have all 5 steps in there. But the first step is to crystallize your make more money mindset. You can just write down mindset as the first pillar. But like I said, I'm in very high level masterminds, and it's like mindset is everything. So that has to be the foundation. And there's a lot of things we can do. One of the things we do at the event is actually you take a money type quiz test. I have these money types, and get clear on what might be holding you back based on these beliefs and behaviors that you have based on these money types. So that's one way. But I've been meditating every day because I'm like really believe that what I believe is going to impact the rest of my life and my future, and I can create anything. So there's a lot of components into mindset. The main thing that happened, giving you an example with Lisa, is that she lacked confidence. She actually wanted to work with high-end executives with $1 million plus to manage. And she started working with like people at 50,000, maybe 100,000, right? But she didn't feel confident she could help them. And she just wasn't there yet because she was actually very new in the industry. She was like a year in when she started working with me. She used this system that I just taught you, the belief loan phenomenon. Like she didn't believe she was good enough. She didn't believe that she was credible. She didn't have the confidence. We borrowed the belief. She kept saying, okay, what would Robyn do? Not to say that to pat myself on the back, but because it just has worked. Borrowed the belief, took the action, got the results, and then started to adopt new beliefs. And this is again, like now the results are even better, but she gained confidence. She had a new $1 million client, and it just kept happening again and again. And she was doing this through LinkedIn that Charlie and I work on. They were executives and her cold contacts, both super ideal. What's even better than that is that, for her, this was her second year in business. I believe she did 7.5 million by like September. And what I love is that she was working with half as many clients this year. And it keeps getting like that because we keep up leveling. And all because for her, a lot of it was a mindset. Of course, the strategies, but a lot was a mindset to get her out of her own way. Now I think last I checked, she was at 56 million, and she's 4 years in the business. She started in 2020. The second step is to clarify your market, which again, we went over. So understanding who is this person to clone, not planting your flag, changing your website, all your marketing, but just going and getting 10 ideal clients. Like go get 10, let's get one and clone them 10 times. Okay. Laura was confused about this. She'd been in the industry for, 25, 30 years. She was very successful, had about $500,000 revenue. She said, I'm passionate about helping people who I don't always make a lot of money from, and I feel torn. Like she wanted to work with college students sometimes, right? I'm confused about who to clone. I said, you can work with them, but just use this rule of 10 and just go get 10 new clients. Okay. Her first 6 months, she got 5. She identified who it was, something we do at the event and in our sessions. She got the 5 new ideal clients, got to $500,000, which she thought she wouldn't do. I think this was in 2021 when the market was down. By the end of the year, she exceeded that. And she didn't even expect to get there. Okay. I just want to show you these examples so you can see what's possible. Okay. I want to get into a couple of things I didn't go over. Crafting compelling messaging. I'm telling you, like this, I'm obsessed with this, and this is everything. Okay. Messaging is like not even taught in the industry. Most people don't even know how powerful it is, but that's why people are going to do what they do. They're going to come and meet with you is because of what they believe. Okay. And the beliefs come from the marketing and what you say, which is the messaging. So April had unpredictable marketing. She had great referrals, but she didn't have the right people. She was doing webinars, didn't have the right people that she was getting in front of. And so we focus on messaging, which is communicating in mission-based language. This really focuses on how your ideal client feels, the deep problems that you can solve, and the transformational results that he or she can get from you. Okay. And it has to be in their language, not yours. Okay. So this is a crash course, but if you come to the event, on day 2, we actually do this whole exercise. I call it channeling the clone, where it's like, where you get clear, pretend to be that person. And then you get in their head, and you'll be surprised at how well you could actually come up with messaging out of your own head when you're asked the right questions. We do a little like partner group exercise there that's really amazing. So she took this information, she used the system of how to use direct messaging and compelling messaging, put in her LinkedIn profile, made all the difference. Okay. She went from 150 to 250, then on track for 500,000. Okay. 2 more. So you have the whole system. Number 4 is committing to money-making activities. I'm going to skip the video, but she has a video here, but she was in the industry for some time. She's also a CPA, and her income hadn't gone up for 5 years. She was basically not doing any prospecting activities. Okay. I'll just tell you the result because I know we're running out of time here. But she basically said that in little over a year ago, she wasn't really doing much. And then she went from having 10 million under management that she already had, wanting 10 million, another 10 million, and she did it in 10 months. So I'm going to just skip it. But if you want to see that video, I'm happy to send it to you. And then she was on track already for 15 million within the year. It was pretty awesome. And she was like, she's like kind of self-proclaiming that she's like, I'm an old dog. It doesn't learn new tricks kind of thing. Like, I don't know who said that, but just, she's basically like willing to shift things, willing to change, even though it was a challenge because she'd been doing things one way for a long time. And she didn't want to prospect. Okay, last step is to capture ideal clients and monetize. Okay, if you're great at all these things, you crystallize your making more money mindset, you have your ideal clone, you have best messaging, you do your money making activities, but you cannot convert cold. I'm not talking about referrals. Convert cold prospects, then you spend a lot of time, wasted a lot of time, haven't gotten the result. Okay, so this is really important. Melissa, CFP, she's like, I don't have the time to do more marketing. And what she did, when she had conversion strategies, she got to time freedom. This just shows you her increase in revenue, and she was working less. And she, at the same time, launched her best-selling book called Going Rogue. You can see her at her book launch party. Okay, so these are the kind of things, these are just some examples, but it's just exciting to see these transformations. I get very excited watching my clients like go from, here to there and like make these huge, huge impact with other people. And so I want to give you the same. So if you like this and you like these results, I wanted to invite you to this event because it all starts with positioning yourself for profits. Okay, that's why we call it Positioning Yourself for Profits. It's a 3-day live and interactive virtual exclusive event. Okay. We've done it in the past. We've had hundreds of people there, and we had like a VIP where I spent some time with. What we decided to do is what we want just fewer people and keep it really, really exclusive and small, and have it include the coaching sessions and whatnot. And a bunch of bonuses so that you can get bigger results. And what you're going to learn is the entire system in depth. And you're going to do it with me when it comes to picking that clone, and when it comes to the messaging and pulling that out, the channeling the clone. And you're going to learn the money making activities and the sales system. Like, it's crazy. It's really, really in depth. People come out of that like mind blown. Okay. And when you have this, you can find high net worth clients, prospects, and increase your AUM. I'm not saying you're coming out of that. I don't know what you're going to do after that, but this gives you everything you need so that you can go get 10 $1 million clients. Like, that is very doable. Okay. So this is our exclusive. We haven't done this ever, actually. Well, that's not true. We used to do it in person before 2020. We used to do it in person, and it was exclusive. And we'd have like 16 people there, and, we do this event, and then we started doing it online. The value of this event is $39.97. I really believe you get one client. You should be, everybody who's in this industry. I'm not saying you do, I don't know, but you have the ability to get at least $4,000 or $5,000 from one client. Most of you probably 10,000 or 20,000. I believe you learn this stuff and you focus on it and you implement it, you'll be able to do that. Okay. So here's what you're going to get. And this is what we go over, and you'll kind of start to see these themes of what you learned today and how you can do that. And if you don't want to work with me, you'll know what you need so that you can get the results, because just knowing it isn't getting you there, but doing it will. So one is how to get instant credibility and stand out so you can slice through the noisy marketplace and work with the best clients. So we started talking about that. How do you stand out a little bit with your messaging and your clone, but we get deeper into that so that you can attract the right people to you. How we use innovative systems without confusion. So our clients can focus on the busy things that matter, the productive things over the busy things. Most advisors come to me, they're super, super busy, and it's just, they're using old archaic strategies, and it's just monotonous, it's time consuming, and it's really like, it doesn't help you stand out. And some people are posting and doing things that like are more modern, but it's not getting them the result. So we want to make sure where you're putting your attention, you're clear, you're not confused, and you stop being busy and you start being productive. How we use innovative system. Oh, well, that's twice. Discover the Revenue Accelerator System. So you just got the quick version, but we're going to go through the entire system. The over 250 advisors we work with have gone and done deep dives with. Okay. We've had more people at the events, but those people actually worked with us. How we fully systematize the marketing methods. So you'll learn some of those, like the automation. We'll talk about some of the automation strategies that we work with Charlie on, to be able to give back, you give your time back without chasing the wrong people, and just know the system so that you can get in front of people consistently. How to drive the most qualified people to want to talk to you, and meet with you through a proven organic LinkedIn strategy. So that's more specificity there. How to attract them through the messaging, which you're going to learn on day 2. And then the conversion process. Okay. I hate to say sales. Nobody in financial services likes it. So we really use the ethical system through a rapid client capture conversion process, not pushy or salesy. Okay. It's all about transformation. I actually call the whole thing the high impact conversion framework, because we're going to to bring a high impact. And then this is all just like to help know what to say, where to say it, and how to say it, so you have instant authority and credibility. So I'll go through this quickly in case you're not interested, but that way you guys know. And I know I took pictures on my big screen, so you can go to the link and you'll see. But you get 3 days. It's happening on December 4th through 6th. So you have plenty of time to move your calendar, block your calendars and all this, but 3 full days online. Okay. So you don't have to leave, but this is like, you got to turn off all the distractions. And you'll get this deep dive or the in-depth workbook that gives you all the stuff I'll show you in a second. We're going to also get the exclusive community and support. We start a WhatsApp group even before the event starts. You get these pre-event golden nuggets. Like, I'll get on WhatsApp and give you tips and strategies. You get a bunch of bonuses at the beginning. So you have a month of pre-event materials that's going to help you start to get the result and get in the right mindset. So this exclusive event, I said it was normally, valued at $39.97. That's what some of my coaches tell me I should charge, but I know you don't know me. You're not going to pay that, even though it's worth it. So instead, we have an early bird special. We knock it all the way down to $497. Okay, so which is pretty crazy. You just have to invest the time, and then you get one client. I mean, you never you have the strategies forever, right? We added these bonuses to make it like so ridiculous, and it's just. This is what we don't usually do. Like in our PYFP event, we usually have this as like a special VIP, but we're including these as bonuses with anyone who joins now. You'll get these extra coaching sessions or group sessions where we get into the clone your client referral generating machine, so that you know how to get at least 10 referrals in 10 days. You'll get the clone your client dream client session. That's the identifying part of who is that person you want to clone. We talked a little bit about it today, level 1, level 2, level 3. So you know who to clone. So you put your attention to the right person, and you just need 10 of them. Okay. So we're going to do the money math, reverse engineer it, make sure you get the right person. The instant credibility amplifier. This is actually during the event, during lunch on day 2, that anyone who wants to come during that session, I'm going to help you craft the compelling messaging. I give it all to you in the morning. You do the channeling the clone, extract it out of your head. And then we put it in this format, and I'll help you. I'll just rip some copy that'll help you, so that it's really compelling. And then we have in the morning of the 3rd day the Ask Me Anything integration session, because everyone's like, but how does this relate to me? Like, I need my situation's different, and they want it customized. And it's true. And it's also, I've worked with thousands of advisors and kind of know the typical challenges. And that's why I can bring that help to you, so you know how to integrate this. So this really, you can take this moving forward. And the last thing we're doing is a virtual happy hour on Friday, where it's going to help you connect, collaborate, and celebrate, which is fun to get to know you better and help you move forward, like working, through this content as well. So I'm going to be crazy. We have one more thing here. I know you're going to I'm going to give you guys such a crazy deal. You're going to I just don't want to chase you. I just don't want to chase people. So we have a super early bird special that's $397 right now that we're going to bring, to our community, and that you guys get as well. And because Charlie is so awesome, and I know he didn't want me to be sales. I didn't want to be else. I just want to give you a good deal. So this is just a no brainer. So we knocked off another $50 just so I don't have to chase you. And I know how many people are going to come to this event, because if I have 2 people, then it's going to be hard to, create this entire event. But if we have 10, 20, 25, that'll be perfect. And so if you want the $50 off, it goes down to $347. And you can come here. I'll pop this link in there. And then you want to put the promo code in with Charlie. So let me just show you that real quick, so you don't get confused about that. Let me pop this in. Actually, I have to stop sharing for a second.
I was like, Robyn, you got to do it for $19.97. You can't do it.
I didn't even tell Charlie. I didn't even tell him. I was like, I'll make a good deal, but I didn't know I was going to go that low. But I don't care. I just want you there. That's how I can make the impact. And it's so much fun. It's such a fun event. And we have this thing. I'll show you some of the things that are so cool, because I have a few minutes. There's the promo code. Make sure you use that. That will expire tomorrow night, because that's promo code above. At least I would like to know how many people are coming. So I don't know, it just helps me prepare a little bit. So plus I want to customize it. And then, we have some pre-event stuff. So let me just show you that link real quick. Let me see if I'm going to the right screen. I think that's it. Okay. I'll probably need to refresh that. Okay. So if you come to this, you can see a quick video. But you go here, it says $497 because that's the early bird thing. You click on that and you'll actually see it's $397, and then you put in this and you apply it. Once you go through that, you'll see it's $347. So you do have to go through that. Don't be confused because you're like, what the heck? Because normally we would do this, like the least we would do was $497. And then we're like, oh, we'll just do a super early bird to make it really valuable. Because this is early actually for online events. So the month ahead is really early. So December 4th through the 6th. So make sure you block your calendar. What's great is that you can learn these strategies before the end of the year. So your next year just kick butt. You come off the next 12 months, will just kill it. So you'll see some of these things I talked about of what you'll get. I'm not going to reiterate it. Just want to show you. And then, three full days of the live training here. This is kind of just cool to read. I know it's a lot of words, but there's so much in this workbook. I think it's probably even more than 73 pages, but like I show you the exponential growth model. We do the money type quiz. So you know your money types and what's holding you back. We have something called the ideal client identifier. That's our cloning magic. So we go through the level 1, 2, and 3. Then we have a session that goes with it. The channeling the clone is in the morning, day 2, I mentioned, of like getting it out of your own head. Then you go through the messaging maker formula. On day 2 before lunch, you learn the whole formula. So you can use something we call the audio logo in 27 different places. You can use this all over social media, website, all these cool things. And I'll help you during that customized session. Those of you get the bonus to actually make it more compelling. I'm really good at the messaging stuff. We have a swipe file, LinkedIn messaging swipe file, so you can actually get appointments. We have something called the transformational selling model. It's under our high impact conversion framework umbrella, so that you can convert clients without being salesy or awkward or weird. This is the favorite is we go near the end. It's the vision leap process where you start to see like the future and create the next 6 months and 12 months and bring it back here, because I really believe in this whole like creating process. And it's really exciting because then you can make it happen. And we start like giving value before the event starts because we have a month away. Well, it'll probably be a week or something, but we'll add the WhatsApp group. And then there's a bunch of bonuses. So the bonuses are really the coaching session. So that's why you want to get your ticket now. So you get the extra coaching. I went over those, and then the virtual happy hour. And you can just see, you'll see a lot of women because I worked with a lot of women, and it's hard to like redo these pages with all the like new stuff because I can't keep up with it. But there's a lot of stuff that kind of shows you what it's like and different results from different people in different situations. I think that shows some clips and whatnot. It's kind of ridiculous, all the stuff here, if you really want to see results and things, but check it out. And I hope we get to spend time together. But you can get it right there. There's a lot of results, a lot of good stuff. So yeah, join us. It's going to be super fun and really, really, really valuable, really valuable. Okay. I got it in within the hour. I have 5 minutes, but I'll stay longer if people have questions. I'm like hoarse because I just try to make it.
We had a couple logistics questions, but nothing that is, substantive content. But a couple things. I echo 100%, right? The mindset, it all starts with mindset, right? And if you would see where Social Advisors was 7 or 8 years ago, and the deficit mindset and the freaking out about how we're going to pay bills and the debt, and that a simple mindset changed the world for us.
Wow.
So something we have in common that I didn't realize until this moment is I worked for Damon John for a little while.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll have a conversation about that one day.
Wow. He's great. He's he's so humble, and it'd be very interesting to work for him. Like, cause he's so hardcore. He seems like really, I never watched Shark Tank. I'm like kind of a loser like that, but anything I've seen of him on social or whatever, like he's really like an open book. He's really just the same guy in person, and really, really warm-hearted guy. I really like him. He's sweet.
Yeah. Cool. And it wasn't all that direct. There was a little bit of interaction, but I didn't know Damon.
Yeah. It's not like we were besties either, but he did help, he helped me with some of the, business strategies. It was a small group of like 20, let's say. But yeah, he's great. That's cool. I'm a big fan of masterminds and just being surrounded by people who are way more successful, mostly to borrow their beliefs. If you go back to the system I just taught, it's like, okay, I need to learn how to think like that. Like all the strategies are great if you do them. Most people won't do them because they don't have the right mindset to do them. But like, if you put those together with the mindset of like the people who are where you want to be, and also, coordinate that with the strategy, it's like, that's how you can take off. I don't know if you know Lisa Nichols, but she's another mastermind. She's like a big motivational speaker, and I actually volunteered to work at this teen camp with her. It's her teen camp, motivating the teen spirit. I had my 17-year-old daughter go. I volunteered. We contributed, to the cause as well financially. And I got to just experience that and be side by side with her with a group of, 25, 30 kids. And like that's the stuff I love, because it's like, again, it's like, how does she live her life? I stayed at her house. I did some videos in her house. It was super fun because she had this beautiful house, like overlooking, LA. And like, it's just, but I love that because I want to get in their heads. And like especially with people like Damon John or Lisa Nichols, or I don't know if you know the same type of people I know, but regardless, it's like, I also feel like they've come from so much love. Right. And it's like, they're truly in love. And that's like one of my biggest quests, is to like stop living in frustration and more often just be love, love, love. So I'm a little weird, airy fairy meditating craziness now, but I'm also like so passionate about the strategies, because the financial industry has just been taught in a way that's just so not aligned with most people. Like it's just not in alignment. And so people won't do it, so yeah.
Some notes that I made, you talk about the lack of time. Here's the one thing: if someone gets busy with client service related items, the very first thing they do is stop any kind of prospecting or business development. Like it doesn't impact today, so it goes back burner. So if there's not a system in place that you can operate with limited time and with consistency, then it stops happening, right? And referrals only last so long, and they're unpredictable. So
totally, yeah.
So having a system in place is absolutely key for growth. So
for sure, yeah.
So awesome.
Any other questions?
So, yeah, great. Well, just good comments. Mike, thank you very much. Everybody who was here, thank you for taking time out of your day. I'll process all this, Robyn, and we'll get a recording out tomorrow morning.
Cool.
So hit up Robyn's website, and in chat, PYFP, capital P, capital Y, capital FP, Charlie 50. So for your
promo. I don't know that the capitals matter actually, but if it doesn't work, then do it. Or sometimes we've had people like they try to buy their ticket and then something weird. It's like, I think it's like the country you forget to fill out, or the state. Like if anything doesn't work and your credit card's fine, it's probably like one of those weird fields, like the country, or just pay attention, because sometimes people mess that up and it's like, oh, this isn't working. And then we go back and it's like one of these errors that it's like, oh, I guess it's hard to tell. Sometimes we're used to like the autofill, and it doesn't always get it right. But other than that, it should work. And you should be able to just pop that discount code in. That will be available till midnight tomorrow. So if anyone gets the recording in the morning, you're getting it now. Like hopefully they watch it, maybe put in the email so they know. And then, yeah, they can do it. Oh, hey, Leonard. It's good to see you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Much for putting the discount together too. I know what the value is.
Of course.
For you to drop it down to this group is awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. I'm excited because, like I said, it's going to be tight, so I'll know everybody. Versus, we've done it with hundreds of people. We used to do our we had a 5-day challenge. We still do the challenge, but we did it with I think 2,000 people at one point. It was just like it was just crazy. Like back when we were just like, hey, But it's so much more valuable when I can understand your business and understand like what you want to get out of it. We do a questionnaire, so I know more going into it and all that. So it's going to be really nice and exclusive and very specialized for those of you who come. So I hope we get to know you and meet you and all that. Well, thank you, Charlie. It's awesome. And everybody knows this, unless you don't know Charlie, but that he's amazing at what he does and got really innovative strategies and very, very committed to really making a difference with advisors and making sure they have the appropriate, marketing strategies that actually work today, as opposed to the old archaic stuff as well. So that's why we're in such alignment and why this works really well. But if you don't know his stuff, check him out too. Because if you're not using LinkedIn effectively, then you need to be, and definitely talk to him about it.
Appreciate it. And everybody who came, thanks for spending some time with us. Appreciate it. Your time is valuable. So that's very cool that you'd hang out with me and Robyn for an hour. Have an awesome afternoon, and we'll get recording out tomorrow in case you want to review anything.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Robyn. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.